Hello, welcome to Crafting in the Night. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take a plain piece of fleece just like this. This is a 1 yard piece from Joann Fabrics, and turn it into a beautiful crochet edged blanket. For this video, I'm just going to show you how we place the holes in the blanket and then how we work the first foundation rows for our border. So that will be the row with a moss stitch to make a nice even edge, and then a half double crochet setup row to which you can add any border. This fancy crown border that I've added here is a separate video tutorial, but I'll be sure to link it in the description as well as put a card at the end of this video. Let's get started. To get started, you'll need your fleece, contrasting yarn. I'm probably also going to add white to this, but I think at least 2 colors works good. You'll use the yarn for your border. I use 2 different rotary cutters. I use a straight edge to trim my fabric down to the correct size, and then I use a perforated edge to get the little holes that we'll be using to attach our yarn. In addition, I like to use a clear ruler to help me hold a straight edge, a cutting mat. This is a self-healing cutting mat, and I'll use 2 sizes of hooks. I'll use a 3.5 to put the initial border around, the first round of the border. This small end helps you get through the little holes made by the rotary cutter. And then after that, I'll use a hook that's sized appropriately for my yarn. In this case, it's a 6mm hook. All right, let's get started. I've purchased this yarn in a 1 yard, and it's 60 inches wide. So for Project Linus, in my local chapter, they want 36 by 36 minimum. And so because I've purchased 1 yard, I know that I have the width is 1 yard. So what I've done is taken my fabric and just folded it, opened it all up, and then folded it so that I'm folding it on the shorter edge. Again, because I purchased 36 inches, I know that this shorter edge is 36 inches wide. And so because my length or the width of the fabric was 60 inches, I know I need to trim it down. Again, my local chapter likes 36 inches, so I'll go ahead and line up this fold. My mat is 24, so right here is 24. And then I'll bring that over to about 12. And then here's where I need my cut. And then I'll just bring that over somewhere along the middle. Make sure that this is about as straight as I can get it. I'm going to be cutting right where that white tree is. And then I'll pull it over so that I'm getting it as straight as possible. And I probably fuss with it more than I should. Then I'll take my rotary cutter and just go ahead and cut all the way down. Now I have to be careful not to cut off my mat because I should have turned my mat around to the longer side, but that's okay. We'll just pull this up. Smooth that out again. And then I'll line this back up. Okay. Now the other thing I want to do is, you can see these edges are not straight. I want to trim those up as well, as I have my selvage edge here, which kind of has this curly Q thing going. So again, I trim it to 36, and my chapter requires a 36-inch minimum blanket. So even if I trim off another edge here, I'm going to add 1 to 2 inches of border, so it won't be that big of a deal. So I'm going to line this up, and again, get it to where I can trim off this edge here and make it nice and straight. I can actually probably get a little bit more of that. I'm not a quilter. I don't normally use this cutting mat for anything except making these fleece blankets. So my technique may not be that great, but it doesn't need to be perfect. We're just kind of getting it cleaned up. The reality is if the line isn't perfectly straight, they're not going to be able to tell because of the crochet border we're going to put on it. Okay. And now I want to get this edge a little cleaned up, so I'll open this up and fold it the other way. And the whole idea is just to get these kind of messy edges together here so that I can clean them up. And I always try to make sure that it's fully cut through before I remove my ruler. And then we'll do the last side here. I'm right-handed, so I like to flip it. You can see. Can't see it, but down here it's really off. So I'm making sure that I'll cut off just the littlest bit down there. Okay. And now what we'll do is use our perforating edge to add the holes which we'll crochet through. So I've already got this set up. I'm going to move this in about 1/4 of an inch. You can move it in a little bit more. You don't want it too much, but probably, yeah, 1/4. I mean, you could even go up to 1/2 an inch. When you're first getting started, more is probably better. So I'll do 1/3 of, maybe that's 1/3 of an inch. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and then up here is where the fold is. So I'll start up here and place my perforation as close to the fold as I can. And you want to press really hard, and then just pressing really hard, come all the way down to the edge. And I don't know if you can see that, but what that's done is added a perforated edge, little perforations, little tiny holes in the fabric. And if you press hard enough and your blade is sharp, it will go through both sides. So you can kind of see that there. And they're nice and evenly spaced. Okay, so now I'll do this other side. And I'll go about the same amount over. Starting at the fold, press down hard, and then come all the way down. And then to get the long side, I won't do the long side typically like that. I'll again fold it. So I've got my edge folded here again. And And it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't even need to be perfectly straight. You just need to have enough fabric so that it's going to fold over when you add your border. Again, starting up at the fold. I'll go ahead and do the last side, and then I'll meet you back and we'll get started with our crochet border. So with the right side facing you, you'll want to find one of the edges. It doesn't matter which edge you start on, but I do like to start kind of close to the corner, just so that I can work that first corner and figure out how it's going to work. You'll also want your 3.5mm hook, and whichever is going to be your starting color for your yarn. In this case, I'm using this peach color from Karen 1 Pound, which matches nicely with my fabric. So I'll make a slip knot, and then in the fabric, you want to locate the holes. And these can be hard to see, but once you kind of find it, and I'm going to pull apart, there you can see the holes. Once you find them, you can start to feel for them. So you'll insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. So that's a single crochet, chain 1, and then insert your hook into your next hole, yarn over, pull up, and yarn over, pull through 2, single crochet. So what we're going to do is along the whole side of the blanket work a single crochet. Now you notice that I'm not so worried about what's happening on the back. It's going to start folding over on its own, making a nice neat edge. So yarn over, and you don't really have to pull apart and look for the hole that much. You can just kind of feel it should be in a straight line from where you're going, so you should be able to kind of feel and push your hook through. And having the smaller hook really helps with this. We'll only use the smaller hook for this first row, but it'll really help get through the fabric. And then sometimes if the hole wasn't opened completely by the cutter, the smaller hook can also help you kind of push through the hole and make it wider as well. So again, you're going to yarn over, chain 1, and just continue like that all the way up the side of your blanket. I'm going to go ahead and work this until I get to the corner, and I'll meet you back. So I'm here at the corner. I've done my single crochet and my chain 1, and I want to look to see where the perforations kind of meet together here. So I can see I have a perforation right here where my thumb is, and then I have my line here, and I have one more perforation right here that I can work into. So I want to make my corner in this area. What I'll typically do is round off my edge. Now I like square corners, so the other way that you could do this that I didn't spell out is you could use a cup or something and then cut with your rotary cutter a rounded edge, and then also use your perforated edge and just make it one continuous round corner. But I do prefer a square corner, so that's what I've done here. I'm going to go ahead and cut the fleece here, just a little bit of rounding with my scissors, just to take off that sharp corner edge. And now I'm going to work a corner, and to do that I'll insert my hook, yarn over, pull up, and then I'll put 2 more single crochets in that same space. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 single crochets all in the same space. And now I still have this hole here. Now whether I had one here or here, you can kind of judge where this fits. I also could have started the corner in this hole instead. So that's really up to you. But I'll go ahead and chain 1 and then single crochet in the next hole. Got to be careful with the finer crochet hook, with the smaller crochet hook, that you're getting all of the yarn and you're not getting strands of it. And then I'll just continue on. See there, it's separating out a little bit. That sometimes can be a pain, but it is worth it to use the smaller hook because it goes into those holes so nicely. And we're only going to use this smaller hook for this first round. And again, just single crochets, chain 1 all the way around. Now, if you do get to a section, and this may happen sometimes where you're missing a hole, if you have a pair of sharp scissors, I will link all of these supplies in the description of the video, but if you have a smaller pair of these sharp scissors, be very careful. But what you can do is figure out where that hole is that was missing, and then use one edge of your scissor to punch a hole through the fabric. Now, you could also do this if you were just going to make one blanket, and so it didn't make sense to buy the perforated rotary cutter blade. You could also do this manually all the way along the edge of your project. I'll be honest, for the time savings and also the risk of kind of breaking your skin, it's worth it to get the rotary cutter, but on occasion the blade will have skipped one or not gone all the way through both layers of the fabric, and I will go ahead and use the sharp edge of the scissor to just go ahead and punch a hole where it needs to be. But I'll go ahead and finish up this row of single crochet chain 1s. You can see this is looking really good along the back edge. It's nice and rolled over. Let me turn that around for you. Looks really nice on the back side. I'll go ahead and get this finished, and when I come around to this other side, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to my starting single crochet, and then I'm going to do a row of half double crochets, but I'll show you how we do that. Just wanted to show you in case this happens to you. In this section, the edge isn't laying down as nicely as I like automatically, so it's still laying down. But do you see how here, let me turn this around so you can see a little bit better. Here it's really nice, and then here it got a little bit thin, but wasn't also laying down. It's kind of more bunched up towards the top. So if that happens, what I'll do when I'm crocheting is just take this edge and use my finger, this is my middle finger, to kind of roll it back for me, and then insert and do my single crochet, chain 1, and then just kind of keep that folded if it's not wanting to do it by itself. For the most part, I don't need to do this. Occasionally, if the section's a little bit thinner than normal, or depending on the fleece, that might happen. But again, I would just, in that case, roll it back with my finger to help it lay down a little bit more. So that's just one tip as I was working this up that I wanted to share with you. Here I am nearing my second corner, and I just want to show you this again. Going to look and see, and in this case I have, and I know you probably can't see that, but right here I have 2 holes, one perforation that was along this edge and one perforation that was along this edge that are almost perfectly intersected. So that's the hole I'm going to want to use for my corner, and it may open up when I'm working the corner, and I could even open it up with my scissors now, and that's perfectly okay. Back here where we started, I'm going to finish my last couple of single crochets, chain 1. Now to join, we started with the single crochet, so I'll chain 1 and then join with the slip stitch, which is just yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook. Now we have this nice even edge all the way around our project with the 3 single crochets in the corner, and then again continuing with a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet all along the edge. This has given the back side this nice rolled finished edge that looks really neat. So from here you could start working your border. This is technically the moss stitch, so that would be really easy just to continue to do a single crochet in the spaces, chain 1, single crochet in the spaces, and continue with the moss stitch or linen stitch. But you could continue on with the granny square or anything else, changing colors as you like. Typically for these borders, I like to do at least 2 colors, but that's completely up to you. You could do 1 color, 5 colors. The sky is the limit. But I typically don't start with my border after this row. I typically go above and beyond and add 1 more row of half doubles. So at this point, I'll change my hook to a 6mm, which is sufficient for my yarn. I'll chain 2, and then I have a chain 1 space here, so I'm going to half double in that space, which is a yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. I'll show you in just a minute. So half double in the next, and then I'll place 2 in the next. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and again 1 more in there. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain 1 space, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And what I'll do is along the side of my project, working into the spaces, I will work 1 into 1 space and then 2 into the next space. And I have found with my tension and the number 4 worsted weight yarn, this gives me a nice even edge. Again, 1 into the next space and 2 into the next space. This is really going to vary depending on your tension and the type of yarn you're using. The idea here is that we want a nice even border that's not causing our project to bunch up and not causing it to ruffle either. So for example, if you have a really tight tension, you may need to put 1 half double in one, 1 half double in the next, and then 2 in the next. So this really, there's no set way to do it. You just kind of need to experiment with your tension and how you want things. Again, with this yarn, this is looking a little bit, well, this looks like I put doubles in here, and I may have by accident. So for example, this yarn is thicker than what I normally use. I normally use Big Twist. So I may do 1 half double in one, 1 half double in the next, and 2 in the next, and repeat that pattern. So it's really just kind of figuring out for your tension and the yarn you're using and the hook size you're using, what the right combination of stitches is to result in a nice flat edge for your project. So that looks like it's about right. So what I'm doing for this yarn, Caron 1 pound, and a size 6mm hook, what seems to be working for this project is 1 half double in the space between stitches, 1 half double in the next space, 2 half doubles in the next space, and then repeating 1, 1, 2, always working in the spaces. So I'll go ahead and give that a try along the rest of my project here, and then I will meet you back as I get towards the corner, and we'll see how we're looking. Again, when I use Big Twist yarn and a 5.5mm hook, I'm typically going to do 1 half double in the first space, 2 in the next, and then repeat that 1-2 combination. This combination with the Caron 1 pound, which is a little bit of a thicker yarn, and a 6mm hook, so a size up, it is working out very nicely for me to do a repeat of 1, 1, 2. So 1 in one space, 1 in the next space, 2 in the next, and then repeating that 1 half double in the next space, 1 half double in the next space, 2 in the next. So we're coming up to the corner here. I've just worked 2 half doubles. And the thing about this is it doesn't have to be perfect when you get to the corner. So there's 1, skip over to the next space. Here's another half double. I'll place 2 in the next. And then we can see when I get to the corner, which is those 3 single crochets, I'm going to place 1 in the next. And then just in the top of the next stitch, I'll place 1 half double. And then into the middle half double here, which is our corner, I want to place 3 half doubles again to make the corner. So all into that same stitch, I'm going to place 3 half double crochets. That's going to form our corner. And I'll kind of turn my project here. The next single crochet, I'll place 1 half double. And then I'll just count that as 1/2 double. So I'll place 1 into the chain 1 space in between the next 2 stitches. And then I'll place 2 into the next. Then I'm going to repeat that sequence again of 1, 1, 2, but it doesn't have to be exact when you come into the corner. But when you come into the corner, you're going to not want to bunch things up too much. So I like to just put 1 into this chain space before, 1 into the single crochet on the side, 3 into the middle single crochet, and then again coming out of it, 1 into the single crochet on the side, 1 into the chain space, and then starting you're doing 2 and starting your repeat from there, 1, 1, 2. And again, if I were using big twist, then I would do the same thing where I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook, and again for that yarn I found a 1, 2, 1, 2 works. Then I would still make sure that I had 1 in the chain space before, 1/2 double crochet in the first single crochet, 3 in the corner, and then I would do 1 on the side, 1 on the side again, just so that coming out of the sides of that corner, you just have 1, and then I would start my 1, 2 repeat if I was using big twist with a 5.5. And again, these are the combos that work for me. You're going to have to play with it a little bit to figure out what results in a flat edge for you that's not wavy. I'm going to go ahead and work the rest of this project. When I get back to the beginning, I'm going to join with a slip stitch. I'm back here where I started, so I'm going to go ahead and place a 1/2 double into the last chain space. And again, depending on where you are in your sequence and how things are going to fit, you could put a second one in there. And then I'm going to slip stitch to the top of my chain 2. So here's the first chain, here's the second chain. I'm just going to insert my hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops on my hook. And then I'll yarn over and pull through and cut my tail, because for row 2 of this border I'm going to switch to white. So I'll just cut my tail. Oops, I pulled the wrong end there. Let's do that again. Slip stitch in there, yarn over, and pull through. I hope this gave you a great idea on how to put a foundation edge on a fleece blanket. These blankets are great for donating. I donate mine to Project Linus. Please visit my channel and be sure to subscribe. I will be posting a playlist with a variety of different borders that you can add to your project. And the first video that I'll publish with these borders is this beautiful 3-row crown border that you see on this blanket. Until next time, keep calm and crochet on.